Right, put these in order of size, biggest first. So what you're looking at these, you're looking at, in order, the whole numbers. They're all naught. So they're all going to be 0 point something. And then your next column, that's 0.84, 0.8, 0.85, 0.08. So that one, because it's a 0, is definitely the smallest. So that one will go last. So looking at these three now, because they're all 8, the first number is 8, we go to the second number. 5 is bigger than, there's no number there, so that would be a 0. And that'd be a 4. So in order of size, biggest first. 0.852 is going to be the biggest. Then it's going to be 0.84. Then it's going to be just 0.8. And the smallest one is 0.0831. Question 2. Which is bigger, 0.3 or 1 out of 3? I would probably change them to a percentage. 3, the first column is always tenths. So 0.3 means 3 out of 10. There's a couple of ways of thinking about this. If I change that up to 100 times in by 10, that would be 30 out of 100 or 30%. The second one, a third of 100. If I'm doing a third of 100, I'm asking myself, if you remember, divide by the bottom times by the top. How many 3's in 100? 33 3's are 99. You should know a third is 33.3%. All right, so which one is bigger? 33.3% is bigger. So the answer to that one is a third. All right, question number 3. Increase 60 by 10%. 10% of 60 is 6. Because when you find 10%, you divide it by 10. And then, because I'm increasing it by £6, my new answer becomes 60 add 6, which is 66. Question number 4. Decrease 40 by 10%. So we're finding 10% of 40. So to find 10%, we divide by 10. So that's 4. And then because I'm decreasing, decrease means take away, take away. So it's 40 take away 4, which is 36. Question number 5. A ratio question. A few ways of doing this. We split in 56 in the ratio 5:3. First thing I would do is add up the number of parts. So I'd be saying 5 add 3. So I'm splitting 56 up into 8 parts. It means I'm giving for every £5 I'm giving the first one, I'm giving the second person 3. And then I'd be saying, so 1 part or 1 share then is 56 divided by 8. 7 8s are 56, so every single 1 share is going to be £7. So then, because I've got 5 and 3, 5 parts becomes 5 times 7, which is 35. And 3 parts is 3 times 7, which is 21. And if I added them together, 35 add 21, both make 56. Right, question number 6, similar. Divide 28 in the ratio 3:4. Again, add up the numbers. 3 add 4 is 7. So there's 7 parts this time. So I'm sharing 28 into 7. So 1 part is 28 divided by 7, which is 4. So then, because 1 part is £4, I've got 3 and 4 this time. So 3 parts becomes 3 times 4, which is 12. And 4 parts is 4 times 4 is 16. And again, 12 add 16, add up to 28, so I know I've done it right. So you add up the number of parts, divide the total by the number of parts to find what 1 share is, and times them by the required ratio. Right, number 7. If 30 marks is 40%, so what they're telling me, if I had 40% in my test and I had 30 marks, I want to find what full marks is. Full marks is 100%. So I'd be thinking of that, and I'd be thinking, what goes into 40 and 100? If I divided it, I could divide it by 4 to get 10%. So if I divided it by 4 to get 10%, to see what 10% would have been in that test, 30 divided by 4, if I'm dividing by 4, I'm halving it and halving again. So 30 divided by 4 is, half of it is 15, and the other half is 7.5. So 10% would be 7.5, and then 100% would be timesing by 10 then. So 7.5 divided by 10 is 75%. Okay? So 75 marks, sorry, not percent, it's marks. So 75 marks. Because 40% is 30. The other way, I could have found 20% by halving it. So 20% would be 15. And then to get 100%, so if 20% is 15, I could have looked at it. I know 40% is 30. That makes 60% if I added them up. So I need another 40%, which is another 30. And then if I'd added them up, I'd have had 75 that way. So lots of different ways of doing it, depending how your brain works. Right, question number 8. 150 grams of sugar. So you want to find out 150 grams of sugar makes 5 cakes. So find out what 1 cake takes. So 1 cake would be 150 divided by 5, which is 30 grams. And if 1 cake is 30 grams, 7 cakes then would be 7 times 30, which is 210 grams. Okay, so you're dividing by 5 to get 1 and timesing by 7. Right, we can always use your back of your book if you want, okay, in the future. Right, number 9. The upside, or use the back of the sheet if you want to make notes during the back of your book, I don't mind. Question 9. Fractions. 4 out of 5 take away 1 out of 2. Right, you've got to get the numbers on the bottom the same. So you'll be saying to yourself, what does 2 and 5 go into? And 2 and 5, as Harry just said, is 10. So I want to make them over 10. So I'm saying to myself, I'm going to get from 5 to 10, I'm doubling it. So I'm going to double this one to get it to 10. So double 4 is 8, double 5 is 10. So 4 out of 5 is 8 out of 10. How many 2's in 10? 5. So I'm going to times that one by 5. So 1 5 is 5, 2 5's are 10. And then 8 over 10 take away 5 over 10 is 3 over 10. That was question 9. Question 10, put them in order, smallest first. We came across 0.3 earlier. I told you 0.3, that's the tenths column. After the decimal place is the tenths column. So that is 3 out of 10 or 30% if I times it by 10 to make it out of 100. 75% is already as a percent. And the last one, 4/5. So I want to find 4/5 of as a percentage, 4/5 of 100. Like the one earlier, divide by the bottom. So 100 divided by 5 is 20, and times by the top. So 20 times 4 is 80%. So that one there is 80%. Question 11, substitution. All right, so what this is telling us is x cubed. X cubed means if I'm doing x cubed, I'll do my x's as curlies. X cubed means x times x times x. And then I got to add on whatever x is. And it's telling me x is 2. So I'm just replacing the x with 2. So I'm doing 2 times 2 times 2. And then I'm adding 2. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. So number 11 is 10.